Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler and today we are going to be reviewing the Kizer Rogue. So this is the Kizer Rogue. I got a lot to say about this little guy. He's not really a little guy. He's got a smaller guy called the Fire Ant, which I'm pretty sure is the same knife, just smaller. But I do like the Rogue. Yeah, I think I just threw myself off. I really like this knife. So I was carrying a bunch. This is Jake's knife, by the way. Thank you for sending it into the channel for review. I was carrying this, and I was a little skeptical. I wasn't 100% that I'd really like it. I like the blade shape. I think the milling on the titanium is kind of weird. By the way, titanium scales. And it's just like there was something about it that I'm like, eh. This is one of those knives that when you get in hand, you kind of throw it out the window, and then you start digging into it, and you're like, wow. Pretty cool. So let's dig into it. As I said, these are titanium scales with some just like milled cutout lines there. And they, in my opinion, I don't like them. I know some people might like the aesthetic of them, but they do give a ton of traction in hand in a very comfortable way. So I kind of get where these are coming from now, and I like that. We have some scalloping to access the frame lock over here. That was a fail. On this side, we have the same thing, titanium, with a relief cut right here that is relatively knocked down. It's a little sharp on like where they cut out this line, so you can kind of feel that point right there. Didn't really notice it until I'm reviewing this knife, so take that for what you will. A really stupid looking blue pocket clip. I'm not 100% on why this thing looks so dumb, but it is extremely functional. I just don't like the looks of it. And the way that it's designed, it has the ramp going. Let's see here. Trying to get you guys a good view. I can't really see my phone screen on here because of all the light that I have. But it's a very functional pocket clip. Let's call it that. I don't know. I feel like they could have done something else or even make it black. Like there's nothing blue on this knife and then you have this blue whatever. I did not know what these two holes were up here until I looked at the spacing of the pocket clip. So you can do tip down or tip up carry, but no ambidextrous carry. We have an over travel stop right there. And that's about it. We have some barrel spacers going on back here. Oh, we have some weird little scalloping cutouts going on down the back. And it actually does provide a little bit more ergonomic value in this thing's not going anywhere. You're really locked into this knife despite it just looking kind of normal. So our screws here, we got T8, 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 T6, T6. We have a thumb ramp right here with some aggressive deep jimping that once again works very, very well. And then this really nice Wharncliffe style S35 VN blade with a flat grind that comes down to here. Now, if you're going to Blade HQ, they're going to call it a hollow grind. And I'm pretty sure the person that wrote that was drunk at the time because this is a flat grind, not a hollow grind. Maybe somebody's going to prove me wrong and then they're going to say something derogatory about me. That day I'm sure will come and has already. So this is a thumb stud opener with a little sharpening choil right there. I bought some time with the weird sounds because I forgot the name at the time. This is running on bearings, and the reason that I think I carried this so damn much, it is actually ironically a joy to fidget with. There's something really satisfying about this. The sound is okay. You can reverse flick it, you can thumb flip it. And it keeps coming loose on me because I haven't Loctited it down. This pivot's coming a little loose. Not a big deal. I'm not going to tighten it down now. But I've tightened it down like 4 times already. You need to Loctite that thing down. Once again, not a big deal. But yeah, a dream for fidget factor. I don't know why. I honestly don't. I don't have an explanation as to why I enjoy fidgeting with this. I just really do. Let's see here. Going into a little bit more, some really fat blade stock. I'm curious to see how thick that is. And that's really all to talk about. It's a pretty simple, straightforward Kizer. I believe this is designed by Dirk Pinkerton, who designed the Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. He designed the Kizer Fire Ant. I have one more written down here. And he designed the Main Street, or the Little Main Street as well, from Concept. So he's kind of floating around the Artisan, Kizer, and Concept. I didn't see too many others that he designed, but I didn't dig too far into it. Let's jump into some specs. All right, the overall weight on this guy, it's going to be a little bit heavy. coming in at just shy of 4 ounces. So not as heavy as I actually thought it was. I thought it was going to break the 4-ounce mark. Let's get you guys some length on the Kizer Rogue. Coming in at just over 7 inches. So it's not a very long knife, but the blade length is coming in at 3, and you're getting a full 3 inches on the cutting edge. Again, this thing was a joy to carry, and I really have a hard time pinpointing why, short of the fact that it's super fun to fidget with. But let's see here. This massive blade stock coming in at 155 thousandths, and it looks even more massive to me because I've been reviewing knives today, catching up. The P801, the Civivi Wyvern, and they just have this really thin blade stock. This is kind of cool how thick this blade stock is, and I'm starting to appreciate a thicker blade stock. Coming in at 25 thousandths thick behind the edge, not a 2021 record, we'll call it that. Overall width of the scales are coming in at about 0.4 of an inch, 0.45 of an inch, which, you know, is pretty average, between 4 and half of an inch thick for flat scales, and then contoured scales go from 0.55 up all the way up to 0.65. The overall height, this isn't that short in your pocket either, is coming in at 1.35 inches. To put that into perspective, your PM3 is coming in at a 1.66, your PM2 is coming in at a 1.6, and your Manix 2 is coming in at a 1.74 inches tall in your pocket. Speaking of size comparisons, here is your Spyderco Para 3, which is slightly longer, not too much, and much shorter than your Spyderco Shaman. Let's talk about carry profile here for a second, because we just went over all of that, right? You guys see that pretty well here. There you go. That's the difference, the Spidey hole. If you guys are curious about the Shaman, I would say the Shaman carries probably just nowhere near the same, but I mean, as far as height-wise. All right. Let's just threw that across the board. Here is your Rat Model 1, your Kizer Rogue, because I shut it, and your Rat Model 2. Even your Rat Model 2 is coming in at just about the same length, and your Rat Model 1 is just decimating it in overall length. Let's get into your Civivis. We have your Civivi Brigand coming in at much longer, and a very comparable knife to this in some way, shape, or I guess not really, just in length. It's about the same length, slightly longer than the Civivi Doris, much shorter than your Civivi Brigand. Last but not least, we have your regular size feldspar, which is coming in at... You guys see what I did there? Talk about that blooper. Jesus, leave the Damascus alone. Sorry. I was like, holy shit, this thing's about the same size. All right, back to reality. So your regular size feldspar is coming in at much longer, I would say almost an inch longer than this, and your mini feldspar is just about the same length. So, as usual, I'm going to do a quick recap of what this knife is all about. We're going to talk about my likes and my dislikes. We'll talk about the value, which this thing's coming in at $116 on Blade HQ. And we will just, take it from there. So a quick recap. This is a very aggressive Wharncliffe blade with a flat grind going down, and we have this thumb ramp right here, slight thumb ramp, not a big one, with some aggressive jimping that works very, very well. This blade stock's pretty thick, so it's going to be a pretty robust guy, and it's not going to come down to the most narrow behind the edge, but I kind of am starting to prefer that. I don't need the Civivi Wyverns, the Civivi Doris 10,000ths behind the edge. I really don't. I don't know who needs that. As long as you have a very sharp knife, I prefer the thicker behind the edge, the better, just because it preserves the robustness of the knife, if you will. We have some titanium scales right here with some cool, I'm going to call these milling lines that realistically look stupid. I don't really like the look of the milling lines, but in hand and ergonomically, you are gripped in, and they actually are super, super functional. So kudos there. Some scalloping to attack the frame lock on this side, which is very easily accessed and feels very, very smooth. And on this side, we got this weird alien-looking pocket clip, and the pocket clip is not ambidextrous, but can go tip up or tip down. This is also running on bearings. Whew. All right, so what are my likes on this guy? First and foremost, ergonomically, for just a small beefcake of a Wharncliffe knife, fantastic. I truly do really, really like these ergonomics. Now, they're not going to be, say, on par with the Spyderco Para 3 when you're like this. I mean, you're so locked into place. Or the Spyderco Shaman. But for what it is and what it looks like and what it's bringing to the table, I think these ergonomics are really, really good. I really also like the blade shape. I don't think anybody needs a Wharncliffe style blade shape that is extremely long. I guess I don't really see the purpose, but then again, maybe I haven't seen the right one. This is the perfect length so far for me for a Wharncliffe blade, and it's just extremely functional, guys. You can do the tip drag, you can do pretty much whatever you want with this, and it's gonna get the job done, and it's robust enough to do so. On top of that, you have some S35 VM steel that for 116 bucks alone is a steal. Did I just make one? I just made a pun. It's a steal on the steel. So the cool thing about that is this steel is so thick and robust, and the S35 is bringing a little bit more toughness than, say, D2 or S30. Excuse me. A little bit more robustness than, say, D2 or S30. And yeah, I feel like this thing's gonna be like, I like that blade steel in this knife. Probably a little bit more than anything in that same price range could have been. So very good pick on the blade steel there. Last but not least, I love the value. The value on this guy coming in at $116 on Blade HQ, phenomenal. Titanium, S35, Kizer, what more can you want? Bearings, I guess. And yeah, it's just a phenomenal, phenomenal value. What are my dislikes? I mean, I guess the pocket clip from outer space hatched out of a titanium egg. I don't know. I think that's a little stupid. And then in typical Kizer fashion, there's a lot of billboarding on the blade. Kizer's logo looks cool, but then you have this K13480S35VN Rogue, and then Dirk Pinkerton. I mean, so here's all the billboarding. I mean, I could have done without that. But if I'm complaining about the billboarding as a dislike, that's awesome because I haven't found anything else that major to complain about other than the pocket clip and the billboarding. And the pocket clip's functional. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very functional. But it's just kind of ugly. So this is the Kizer Rogue. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp. Stay safe. Thank you guys so much for watching, genuinely. And once again, I apologize for the absence lately. I've been under the weather, but we're back, we're swinging, and here we are. Have a great day, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. Subscribe, like. I have a Patreon. If you're interested, check that out. In the Patreon, we're giving bi-monthly giveaways based on the number of patrons, and I also give great discounts on the knives that I review. So thank you guys again so much for being a part of this channel and the best part of this community. Have a great day, guys.